Air France welcomes women travelers on their first trip by jet to the continent with a collection of French dolls dressed in provincial costume. The traditional dress of the Alsatian women. Burgundy, province of famous vintages. Savoy in the Alps. And the sunny Riviera. Each of these French provinces has its own distinctive costume.
C'est la Côte d'Azur. Ça, c'est la Savoie, la Bourgogne et...
But the best known of all is without doubt that of Alsace, stretched along the eastern frontier of France. For many foreigners, the colorful Alsatian costume is a symbol of France, and it is still widely worn on festive occasions. The origins of Alsace are enveloped in legend. One of these legends recounts that Lucifer was ordered by the Lord to spread riches over the world, and tired of traveling, he dropped the entire contents of his bag on the plain separating the Rhine River and the Vosges Mountains, the plain of Alsace, which King Louis XIV and Goethe were later to call an earthly paradise. The great forests of the Vosges border the plain and provide the wood used in building traditional Alsatian houses. These stud-work houses are seen on all the travel posters, with the traditional stork's nest perched on the ridge of the roof. The Alsatians are so proud of their storks that they can't stand the sight of an empty nest. So don't be surprised if some of the birds are made of plaster. Peasant houses, bourgeois houses. Here they have the same refined elegance as the historic mansions. To defend themselves against more enterprising tourists in the Middle Ages, the Alsatians erected castles overlooking the plain. Today, many are in ruins, but an aura of mystery hovers over the seclusion of their ancient battlements. However, if you are untouched by the splendors of old, you can always go fishing. In the Middle Ages, military alliances were precarious, feudal lords were hot-headed, and towns needed the protection of thick walls with heavy doors that could be closed when the alert signal was sounded. Fortunately, even in those days, the Alsatians already possessed a supreme tranquilizer, the famous white wine of the Rhine. The fresh water drawn from the quaint village fountains is scarce and carefully preserved for washing and scouring. The white wine is still as good as ever, but today tourists walk in the shadow of the ancient fortifications. You must wander in leisurely fashion through Alsace, for it is beautiful in every detail. But the real symbol of Alsace is the Strasbourg Cathedral. Irregular, moving as a human face, its choir, nave, and facade are a happy blend of Romanesque and Gothic. It is a resume of this province made of intermingling currents, where different tendencies have blended without clashing. The cathedral is a result of the combined influence of the Chartres and Burgundy schools, which so profoundly upset Christendom. Close upon Alsace, Burgundy, a name evoking great vineyards and rocky terrain. Here at the foot of these hills, almost 1,000 years ago, the monks and their holy relics, fleeing the barbarian raids, came to seek refuge. And here too were to rise two splendid abbeys, two names recounting centuries of Christian history, Cluny and Citeaux. Today it would take considerable imagination to reconstitute the extraordinary Cluny Abbey of old. All that remains is 4 belfries, a solitary crosspiece, a few delicately sculpted columns, and several strangely irreverential statues. And yet Cluny marked the rebirth of Romanesque art in the Occidental world. Its stamp is found in numerous churches of Burgundy. When the art of Cluny was at the pinnacle of its glory, the stern voice of Brother Bernard, a monk from Citeaux Abbey, rose in strong protest against gigantic structures and overabundant sculptures which did not predispose the faithful to prayer and meditation. The school of Citeaux brought Romanesque art back to a simpler and nobler expression. Banished were the huge bell towers, symbols of power. Banished, too, were the myriad sculptures on portals and capitals. While the men of the church were engaged in this architectural battle, the men of Burgundy struggled against the soil. Here the noblest conquest of man is the vine. Pommard, Beaune, Nuit Saint-Georges, Corton, Julienas, Moulin à Vent, names on which rests the international celebrity of Burgundy, and on which also rest the immense fortunes of its wine growers. To atone for his quickly amassed fortune, Nicolas Rolin, 5 centuries ago, had the hospital and the Hôtel Dieu of Beaune built with his own money. He has not only gained our indulgence, but given us some jewels of architecture with striking, multicolored roofs. Under these ancient vaults, the wine of Burgundy slowly ages, surrounded by its court, for here the wine is king. It even has its own order, the Brotherhood of the Knights of the Wine Tasters. The noble assembly can promote all persons who, by the great respect they show for the wines of Burgundy, are worthy of the honor, to the dignity of a knight. Today, in the storeroom of the Clos Vougeot Vineyards, 2 new members are to be received into the Brotherhood, 2 blue-ribbon Air France chefs.
Jurez-vous sur la sainte ampoule bourguignonne d'être de vie gastronomique et de mœurs vineuses? Jurons. Jurez-vous lorsque votre verre sera plein de le vider? Jurons.
Par Bacchus, dieu du vin, par Saint Vincent, patron des vignerons, nous vous armons chevalier du tableau. Et nous vous remettons.
Southeast of Burgundy in Savoy, there's a festive atmosphere today. Almost 2 centuries ago, Jacques Balmat and Dr. Paccard, both from Chamonix, conquered the crest of the White Mountain, Mont Blanc. Shortly afterwards, in her long skirt and furbelows, Mademoiselle d'Angeville renewed the exploit. Each year, a joyful celebration recalls the conquest. In those distant days, alpinism as well as tourism were still in their swaddling clothes, and the main activity of the people of the valley was agriculture. It is only in the 19th century that Savoy was discovered by the rest of France. In 1816, the poet Lamartine brought the lakes of Savoy into vogue. Generations of Frenchmen learned that here Lamartine found true romantic love, as well as the inspiration for one of his most famous poems. Today, Savoy is bending all of its efforts towards capturing the torrents and building the dams that will bring France new hydroelectric power. And the tourist today in Savoy is king. Everything is done so the tourist may enjoy his stay. Even Edelweiss, the rarest of mountain blooms, can now be picked in the gardens. One by one, the towering peaks that so long resisted the onslaught of mountain climbers are caught in a network of cables and teleferics. Now anyone can breakfast at 10,000 feet. The breathtaking Aiguille du Midi teleferic offers a unique panorama. It also offers the possibility of skiing in the White Valley till the month of August. There are all sorts of easy climbs where beginners may train for harder things to come. Here the students of the National Skiing and Mountaineering School learn the techniques that will make them full-fledged guides. One day, they will take off for the major climbs. The shadows of night are lifting. Only the white cap of Mont Blanc reflects the first rays of the rising sun. The needles light up one by one. Life is born anew. Way down south, the dawn has tinted the seacoast as the fishermen come in with their catch. The sky is blue, and once again the sun, the sea, and the rocks form a vivid contrast. White stone, narrow streets. This is Saint-Agnès, a diminutive inland village drying and slowly fading through the centuries under the torrid sun. Elegant yachts, palm trees, luxurious hotels. Cannes is a Garden of Eden on the Mediterranean. An eagle's nest. This is also the Riviera. And clear, clear water. Pine trees, picture postcard scenery. Saint-Paul-de-Vence, raw light on pastel roses and all the fruit of tropical climes. This is also the Riviera. For there are many Rivieras. The Riviera of shaded gardens and the scent of orange trees. And the Riviera of gay, narrow, and teeming streets. not to forget the Riviera specially reserved for tourists. There's a homey philosophy in this old man who seems part and parcel of his native village. And there's the joy and laughter of vacationing youths. And this double contrast between natives and tourists, between the seacoast and the hinterland, shade and light, sums up the azure coast. This mixture of sweetness and violence has left its stamp on the works of many a painter. The best known of all the Riviera's facets, the elegance of big hotels, the beaches and parasols, the ideal vacation land. The Riviera welcomes the harassed city dweller and offers him the priceless privilege of resting. The tension is off. Children can relax from the strain of reading, writing, and arithmetic. And parents can relax from the tension of fighting for a living. A lady's only worry is how fast and how well her skin will turn to bronze, and that absorbs all of her time. If you want to offer an effigy of yourself to your friends, the local artisan will sculpt your bust in olive wood. Vacation on the Riviera. There is sun, sea, and happiness. A little corner of paradise waiting for all of you. The little remembrances offered by the hostess will evoke the French provinces for you. Take your choice. Strasbourg, Burgundy, Mont Blanc, Nice, the coast. No matter where you go, you will spend a happy holiday.